What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Trading Live with Bubba. It is Thursday, May the 2nd. It's been a couple of days since I've been live, and here we are, ready to rock and roll. And markets are, listen, Jay Powell stepped on his, again, and left the markets in turmoil. And of course, if we take a look at the picture here, let's just switch over here. You can see we're a little bit higher this morning, but again, a lot of this rally is still from the close yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some major selling again today, later. But I don't think we're going to go down a lot. I just think we're going to probably get back closer to that break-even line. Tomorrow's jobs. So usually we don't see dramatic movement before a major number. It was interesting on Tuesday when we had the big sell-off right before the Fed announcement, and of course the markets bounced all the way back before giving ground late in the day. And I think that's something to look at. But you had the big sell-off. And again, here we are. We're hovering around the bottom. I think you've got pretty solid resistance at 18,000 on the NASDAQ. Certainly, if we compare that to the Qs, we need a rally to sell. I think you got to get a rally to about 430 to want to really be a seller of the Qs right now. Let's just see if there's anything to day trade here as we're watching. Volume's pretty light, and this is pretty typical of a market that is waiting for an announcement. Again, the whole key with the announcement tomorrow is that if the jobs are really good, it's going to even enforce more the fact that the Fed is going to have to hike rates, not cut rates. And considering that this whole rally has been built on the potential of rate cuts, and now we're already into May, and the next meeting, there's 2 jobs numbers before the next meeting. So the likelihood of cutting would be only one for political reasons, or 2 for because we're going into a depression. Okay, we're very close to stagflation, and there's a lot of things going on. Let me go back here and just see if there's something that's maybe developing here. Again, we don't really have a lot. It's been a very tough challenge of a day, just in general, because there has been really a lack of true activity to get involved with. Let me just see where we are time-wise. All right, we're not going to have anything to trade. Maybe gold. We'll hang out here for a minute. The potential of gold exists here, but we'd have to get the volume. We'd have to spike up to here for me to even think about looking at it. Okay. But again, this market's been a very big of a challenge. And of course, that's pretty common when there's a lot of data coming out. And yesterday you had the FOMC, you had the ADP jobs and ISM manufacturing, and tomorrow's jobs. After that, we're back into the clear, and hopefully we'll see some action. And there is not anything really to trade here. So let's go back to the big screen and just run through. We haven't run through. And of course, we talked about last time we're together, we talked about Apple at 165 as a potential spot to sell put spreads. Again, I'm not going to ever tell you that I told you to buy it there. I just said, look to sell premium. When the markets are wobbly, it's easier to sell premium. Okay. Right now, I would say if Apple gets to 175, now they got earnings today, so I wouldn't want to be short any premium going tomorrow. In fact, I would recommend you pass Apple, wait until after the earnings come out. Okay. And then you worry about from that. Okay. I think that's the key to worry about is because you cannot judge, what the earnings are going to be. So I would just assume wait before I would do anything with Apple. Amazon had earnings, and again, I would be looking for 185 to sell some call spreads. Okay. I think that Apple's in consolidation. I don't think going much past 185, 186. So that would be where I'd be looking for. Coin having a nice rally today. They got earnings after the close. So again, or tomorrow, another one I wouldn't want to get overly involved with. Remember, unless you're always trading and always in during earnings season, okay, then there's no reason to put in something to ahead of yourself. Okay. I think you have to remember that you're better off keeping yourself in a position where you can react to the market instead of trying to predict it. And again, I'm always in, so I'm using an algorithm, for my longer term trade. So I don't worry about the earnings. But if you're just trying to day trade them, you don't want to get involved in the earnings season because you're going to pay way too much premium and way too much juice. Meta, you saw what happened to them. They got clobbered last week. And it now looks like that the 450 is going to be pretty good resistance. If we can see a rally up to 450, I would be a seller there. Google continues to try to rally after it peaked. It came back down to where we thought it would. Here you see. And then it looks like it's trying to take off again. You know, I'd watch it a little bit. Again, I'm not anxious to get too involved in anything right now because I really want to see what the jobs is and how the markets react to that jobs. I think this is something that is important for you to understand that, you know, unless you have a big bankroll, you're a professional trader and you understand these big moves and how to play into them, I think you want to be much more careful into these big announcements. And let's just see, it looks like crude might be coming a potential buy on a day trade. And that's really all there's any action on is potentially crude, which I think will probably get there, but we'll come back in a minute because we got time because I ain't doing anything until it happens. Moderna, did they have earnings this morning or are they after the close? That I got to see because I know they have earnings coming. I don't know if they already came out. Based on the stock's rally, it looks like they already came out. Next week. Oh, geez, that's just a rally. How about that? Again, this would be something that I'd be looking at if we get some more volume here. I'd look to be a seller of this. We got a week before earnings. A week from today are the earnings on Moderna, so I would look to be a seller if we get a rally in here up to about let's say 120. I would like to go short there as a blow-off trade, like what we're making on these short-term trades. And sure enough, crude is going to be a trade, but we still got to wait so we can go ahead and back and see what's going on here. Microsoft. Again, got very oversold. Probably want to sell some put spreads in here. And again, these are all for tomorrow. Now that IWM has dailies, so that's another one you can look at on a daily basis. I think you can, put yourself in a better position by setting up these trades, okay, and realizing that you only got, like right now, we're 4 hours from the close or 5 hours from the close. I mean, again, it's a 5-hour trade with no overnight exposure, no overnight risk. So why not, go ahead and take the best of it when you can get a shot at it. Okay. NVIDIA, again, right in the middle of nowhere. There's not anything to even think about doing right here. It is headed lower, but there's really not a trade to be made here. Qs we looked at. Let's go back here because it is time to look here. All right. So crude is a potential. Let's take a look and see. Our stop would be 77.82 would be our stop. But we don't have a buy yet. We have to wait for a green bar to show up now that we know that it's going to be a trade. Okay. So that is something that we look at. All right. And we're waiting for the opportunity to be a buyer of crude. And right now it is not giving us that opportunity yet. All right. So again, it's just something that we have to wait for. And again, the patience in this business is the key. I'd say 78.55 or higher is where I'd be looking right now. Again, I want to make sure that it's confirming. Again, it looks like it might. So we'll see. We got 15 seconds to wait till the bar closes. And it looks like it's going to be a trade, but we don't know yet. Nope, no trade yet. No trade. Not yet. So we got to wait another minute. Okay. So we'll continue to watch and see if anything else is developing. And these we're getting some pretty sharp up movement, but you're not getting support or volume behind this. And the key to the trade that we're doing now, it needs to have price moving dramatically in either direction along with volume. Okay, a big spike in volume. And if you don't get that, then you don't have a trade. Okay. Now, certainly the euro currency is a potential to look at as well. Let's take a peek at that. And the stop on the euro currency would be 107.28. So we have a chance. We're looking for a buy in crude over 78.55 and a sell in the euro currency. Okay. And no trade on either account. Okay. Notice we didn't get the red bar to sell. We didn't get the green bar to buy. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, so we're waiting for a green. We're waiting for a red here. We're waiting for a red here and a green here. Right now, we're getting neither. So there's on the trade. Again, that's the discipline you have to sit and wait for it. Okay, is very important to what we do. Okay, because again, you're waiting for a reason to go next. We didn't get there. This is not enough to talk about. And that's again, it's all comes back to the reason why you make a trade and how you wait for it. And of course, gold never made it, so we're going to pass on that. But we are still looking. Now the crude is closer, and the okay. All right, so we're still no trade and still no trade. Okay, so again, you got to continue to watch and wait until it gives you, and it'll give you the signal. All right, so again, we're waiting for an opportunity to get in, and right now we're closer to potentially getting in. But again, we've been like this every bar. Okay, and of course now it looks like you're going to get the euro currency, but again, it's obvious you got to wait the time. This is something important to understand, that you got to wait for your time. Okay, but it does look, if I were to predict, I would say we're going to get them both. Okay, but I got to wait, even though it looks like it's pretty certain. Okay, and the stop on the euro currency is going to be 107.30. 107.30. And the stop on crude is going to be 77.82. Okay. Okay, and now start to work some orders above in crude to take a little bit off, about 10 ticks higher, and below in the euro currency about 5 ticks lower to get one off. Okay, and right now we're just kind of sitting here. We're not going. We're heading back south on crude, and north. We're going opposite direction where we need, but again, they're not going far enough for anything to change what's going on here. Okay, you have the parabolic move up and the parabolic move down, which there should be some, as they call it, mean reversion. Okay, and that's what we're waiting for. In the meantime, is there anything else to look at here? No. So we have our trades in, we have our stops in, we have our orders working, so we can go back and look here, because I don't have to sit and stare at it. Okay, the NASDAQ we talked about 430. I'd like to see. Square, I think they have earnings today after the close, so that's nothing we're going to do there. The SPY is towards, again, right at the mean. So there's not a lot to look at here, but I would look at 510 as a potential, okay, to try to sell something. Yeah, or if it comes down to in the 490s again. Again, this is what you have to look at, right? We're looking for key levels to take advantage of some premium while we're waiting for the markets to work in our favor. And Tesla, which had a huge up move and is now settling back down. Again, I would suspect that about 170 is support in Tesla, where I'd like to sell some put spreads. Win, getting a little bit of a bounce off of oversold conditions. Again, remember, these things, you've noticed every time we talk about them, again, it's not going to work 100% of the time, because nothing works 100% of the time. But what we do know is that it does work, okay, if you do it diligently and you focus on the task at hand, okay? And let's go back and see what we're looking at here, if there's anything to do. And okay. So at the end of the day, we're sitting here waiting, and of course, crude is right where we bought it approximately, and the euro currency is about right where we sold it. So again, right now we're right about dead even. So now we're in these trades a little bit longer than we'd like to be. Okay, we're not going to do anything about it right now, but our job is now to start looking for a defensive measure. If I can get a little bit of a pop in crude, like right now, I'm going to go to break even on my crude in entirety, okay, and not worry about it because at the end of the day, I don't want it to turn into a nightmare. Okay, so I took off, okay, and went to break even on all of my crude, okay, and now I'm waiting, and I'll do the same thing in the euro currency if it happens to give me a chance. Right now it's against me, but again, I'm in crude and now I'm out. Okay, so I'm flat with a small profit here, and so now I'm just dealing with the euro currency. And again, remember that you don't want to let the markets get away from you, okay, because these moves, if you can see here, I drew these in for my group this morning. This is what we're looking for. If we don't get the V, okay, then it's not really probably something that we want, okay, and it should come, if the trade is right, it should come rather quickly, okay. And that's what you want to remember. These are reactionary trades. If you're trading on 4 minutes, like I'm trading on here, you're looking for an emotional response to the market. So if you get a blow off to the downside or a blow off to the upside, it should mean revert rather quickly if you've got it nailed right. Okay. And again, they're not all going to win. You should hit about 65 or 67% of these trades, which is plenty to make a lot of money. But again, you have to be prepared to take the losses, and you have to be disciplined enough not to get involved when you don't belong. And right now, there is nothing for us to really do anywhere else. Okay. I mean, as much as you'd like to trade, and remember, just because you're sitting in front of the machine doesn't mean that you have to trade it. Okay. That is something that is very important to understand, is just because you're sitting here doesn't mean that you have to get involved. Okay. And that is a lesson for you to remember always. Okay. That you don't have to trade just because the markets are open. They're open 241 days a year. There's plenty of opportunities to trade. We don't have to force anything, okay? And again, when you force them, you tend up finding ways to lose money versus being on the sidelines. And never regret when you missed a winner, because just think about the losers that you missed as well. If you force trades, you only assure yourself of one thing: to get every loss, every losing trade you'll get into, okay? But you won't get into every winner. Okay, that's the point. Okay, so it's better to be diligent about the way you're trading. And yes, now crude is starting to move a little bit more in our favor. And yes, could I hold it? I could have. But again, you have to make a decision that should be part of your trading plan on how you want to trade it. Okay, and again, I can't look back and say, oh, well, I should have made money. I don't really care. I'm on to the next trade already, because hopefully I'll get 30 to 40 trades in a day like that. So why should one trade bother me? Okay. And no matter how it ends up, why should one trade bother me? That's the whole key. Okay. That's the whole key to the mental side of the trading rule. Okay. So in the meantime, is there anything else? I don't know that I'm going to call another trade even if we get one, because we're going to be done here in a minute. Certainly the notes are something to potentially look at. Okay. Again, I'm not going to call it because, again, if you don't know how to defense it or know how to deal with it, once I'm gone, I don't want to put you in that position. It's not a trade right now, but the volume looks like it might get there. But it won't be a trade because there's not a price spike. I need the price to come up to about here. Okay. So, all right. So as we get ready to say goodbye, listen, you got if you took the trade, you got the euro currency. If it gets back down to a couple of ticks profit, just go to break even and let it trade and try to let it rip. And other than that, we had one break-even trade today, and we got a lot of good stuff. And we'll see you back here on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you later.
All opinions expressed by Tradier Hub contributors are solely the contributors' opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Hub contributors as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. The contributors' opinions are based on their own personal research, but neither Tradier nor its affiliates and/or subsidiaries warrants its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. Any trades or positions discussed or referred to by contributors may or may not be actual live trades or positions. Such information is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Tradier Inc. is the parent company of Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. and Tradier Inc. are separate entities with their own products and services. Securities products and services are offered through Tradier Brokerage Inc. Tradier Brokerage Inc. is an independent subsidiary of Tradier Inc., all rights reserved, member FINRA SIPC.